Steve Yates was my childhood best friend. He was a great bloke. He was funny, generous, happy. He was just one of those people you just enjoyed being around. But on the 28th of May, 2014, he took his own life.
And I said, no, I said, it can't be true. Not my Steve.
The guilt's horrendous. Feel so guilty all the time. The frustration is constant.
He's one of the most just bizarre and horrible experiences I never ever want anyone else to go through.
I'm never going to come back.
He was one of 4,500 men who take their own lives in the UK every year.
We refer to them as the holy shit numbers. So, single largest killer of men under 45, 1 every 2 hours, 84 a week, 75% of suicides are male. That clearly says that there's something intrinsically wrong in our society.
But Steve wasn't a number. He was a father, a son, a brother, and a friend.
Guys in their 20s have this really cool social connect. They've just come out of school, they've come out of big groups, and then they go off and start careers. So when they hit their 40s, they're socially not connected, so they feel they can't ring anyone, they feel isolated.
Steve is a documentary about male mental health. How many men are hiding their feelings and don't know how to ask for help, and what they can do about it.
There's almost a kind of a slight amount of resistance actually seeing that there's a problem. Some people have coined male gender blindness.
I can't imagine Steve coming up to me and saying, Dad, I've got mental health issues. I just couldn't imagine him saying that. He just wouldn't.
So, for the past 6 months, I've travelled the country talking to people about this epidemic.
I do get quite a few men saying, I'm only here because my wife told me to come. On the other hand, I don't think we should stereotype men and say, men don't come to the doctor, men don't talk. I think there is an element of that, I do absolutely agree, but I am hopeful that things are changing.
Discovering it's happening to men from all backgrounds.
In my experience, if you come from a working class background, it's not deemed acceptable to talk about certain emotions. And I didn't have the language to talk about certain emotions. I didn't even know what mental health was.
I think men and women probably experience the same emotions, but they're not socialised expecting to name them. But men think exposure of emotion is still seen as a weakness. There are still class differences about that, what we're expected to do. The whole big boys don't cry stuff. I think it's a middle class profession.
I did the typical bloke thing, what all men do when they start suffering from mental health issues. I kept it to myself. I didn't want to talk about it. As a rugby league player, we were always taught if you get injured on a field, you get back in your defensive line and you keep moving forward. But that's what I took into everyday life, and that's when tragedies happen.
And for me, you know, going through the Mind Over Marathon project helped me really identify that within myself. Why was I always on that kind of eternal momentum going forward? Because if I stopped, I would have a conversation with suicide.
But it's also finding those who are using their experiences for positive change. After Dan died, because you're both creative people, you needed to do something to sort of help with your process.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's quite a lot of research into photography as a therapy. Being in the moment of composing and taking a photograph actually has some quite therapeutic benefits.
So we started to think about doing what are the 4 albums that have meant the most to you in your life, and then that transposed into what are the 10 songs that you listen to when you're happy or sad. So it's a directional movement to help, to try and break down some of these borders. And then the idea is to use music as the platform.
There was a selfish reason for doing the journal, which was for myself, as I needed to take myself on a journey, and there was like, but the outcome of that has to be selfless. I want it to empower someone else. I've got to change someone else's life. So when we realised at the end, we were helping like 1,500 guys, we were like, it just blew my mind.
Andy Roberts Coffee Club. I said, I need to do it. I've got to do it for him. I can't have other guys doing this. This is bullshit. I can't have guys killing themselves. Because obviously, I'm fell in that category. I'm under 45. I'm more likely to die by suicide than all this other stuff that gets advertised about cardiac arrest and testicular cancer and everything else. And I thought, I'm more likely to die by suicide. No one's talking about it. So I went home, had an idea what I'd do. I already had a unit where I operated my business out of. I thought, I'll just donate that every Monday.
It doesn't matter what you've got. The thing with depression, it has no boundaries. It can get anyone. So everyone should be having mental fitness workshops and learning more about mental health.
Because this is a film of hope to help men help themselves.
Whatever you think it is, it's not that bad and we can fix it. But we need you to try to fix it as well. We can't fix it for you.
On a plane, when they tell you put on your own mask first before you put on your child's or whatever, you know, that says it, doesn't it? You've got to look after you before you can look after other people.
We've filmed so much, but we still need to do more. So please help us finish this film. Thank you.